Hey everybody, I'm Scott Weichel. You're listening to My Kind of Country on MKOCRadio.com. You have heard the songs of my guest tonight on our show quite often, and he's got a brand new album out, and he's won all sorts of awards. He's got 4 Canadian Country Music Awards, Male Vocalist of the Year from the Alberta Country Music Association, originally from Canada, makes his home in Nashville, Tennessee. Now it's my honor to welcome Shane Chisolm to My Kind of Country. Shane, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. How are y'all doing there?
Hey, fantastic. Great to have you on the show. I really enjoy your music.
Well, appreciate that, Ben. Thank you so much for playing it.
Absolutely. So you're originally from Canada, and you obviously did a lot of playing up there, and you've won some great awards. And tell me a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I've actually born and raised in a town that bordered with Sioux, Michigan, in Sioux, Ontario, on the Canadian side there. Didn't do much with music, but apparently my mother told me she used to, work part-time in a country bar, and they had some kind of talent show, and they dressed up myself and my siblings all in like old country western wear, and then we went up and sang 3-part harmonies, and I was the bass singer, but I was only like 2 years old at the time, so I don't know how that worked out, but I've always seemed to have this low kind of baritonish voice. I used to freak out little old ladies in grocery stores pinching my cheeks, so I always had this deep voice. And country's always been playing in the household, and like Jim Reeves and Patsy Cline, so I like to say I grew up with country. It wasn't my forte when I was a youngster growing up, just trying to find yourself and do your thing, but I joined a bunch of bands because I played bass guitar. I started playing bass guitar probably because I just liked the low tone of it, and then later on I was playing in lots of like rock bands and rock and roll bands and whatnot, but I never seemed to work in country bands. But I could always sing, but I just never did because I could never sing all this higher registered material. But then I joined my first country band, and then I started to fall in love with the music of the time. So I was like really loving Keith Whitley and Merle Haggard and and Johnny Cash and all these really cool, distinctive baritone voices. So I was probably drawn that way, and that's where I started, trying to experiment and trying to write my own music and record my own music. My first album was done, in a studio, but I finished it up at home at the time. But I produced that myself, and I wrote most of the songs. But I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just having a good old time trying to make my own music with all my influences. And I've been going pretty much hard since then. Since then, I developed this hobby of making musical instruments. But say the last 5-6 years or so, I've been making them out of recycled material. So I've been I'm getting known for my gas tank upright bass. That was I crafted from an '86 Chevy Astrovan gas tank, and his name is Tank. He's got his own following too.
Yeah, I saw some videos of that.
What's that, sorry?
I saw some videos of that on YouTube. That is really cool. That thing sounds great too.
And it's fun. Well, I work really hard on trying to make my instruments out of recycled material sound like they should, because that's the hardest part. Is just trying to make them presentable, because like I always say, anybody can put strings on an ironing board and call it a musical instrument, but trying to make it sound good is the key point. So I've got that. I've made some hubcap banjos. I've made about 5 or 6 Stanley Cup replica bass guitars out of pots and pans.
Okay. That's cool.
But my first one looked so correct. I actually got an email from the water department of the NHL asking me not to build them.
No kidding.
Oh yes. But since then, I wrote a hockey song and I got it played on a national television show, Hockey Night in Canada, and that was like a big dream of mine growing up, in a hockey culture, to have a song played. And then they had a photo of me while the song was playing, with me holding the Stanley Cup bass. So they haven't bothered me since. And since then, I was lucky to get an interview with CBC in Canada, and then USA Today picked up the story there back in 2010 2017, and that was just me walking down the street in Nashville with my Stanley Cup bass on wheels, just standing at a stoplight, and just happened to be one of the of the head people at CBC that got that story going, and then it went semi-viral, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoy, I'm not kidding. I love the attention. Being a bass player, nobody pays attention to the person that plays the bass, so it's fun to just get the smiles and the looks.
Absolutely, that's really cool. My guitar player, I used to have a band for many years, and my guitar player has built two different guitars out of all the old porcelain bedpans. And the first one he calls a Splaticaster, and and then the second one is a Pandolin. And they sound really good too. They amazing. So that's
I'm about
cool.
half finished one of those. I had a friend of mine that wanted one, so I just started building a deadpan guitar.
That's cool.
Yeah, but now I know that they have good tone. I'm gonna continue on with that one.
Yeah, they sound pretty good. So I'm gathering you must be from Sault Ste. Marie. Is that right?
Sure.
Okay, yeah. I've been there many times. I am actually in Traverse City, Michigan, which is in the Lower Peninsula. We're about 120 miles, I think, from Sault Ste. Marie.
Well, I know.
Michigan.
We used to go cherry picking there.
Oh, did you? No kidding. Small world.
That was the first actual. I was just a young lad, but it was the first place I've ever had seafood. It was just all in a big giant pot, and it was just like clams and crabs and lobster, and I was just like, I was in seafood heaven there.
Oh yeah, that's really cool. I used to work for a music store. It was called New Moon Records, and they had one in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. And I used to be up there quite a bit, and then we played at the Kuwaitan Casino quite often too when I had my band as well. So
very nice.
Very familiar with the area. Yeah. So what prompted your move to Nashville?
Well, I was working on my artist career in Canada, but I always said like my music is it's not mainstream by any means, and so I was just trying to find a market for it. So I started getting affiliated with the Americana Music Association, and they just seemed to be more open towards people that have maybe a traditional sound, or that are still making new music, but their influences are a lot different than what's going on in mainstream radio. So I've been working in that kind of angle. So that seemed to be like I had to be in Nashville for that, to get to know everybody and start making moves in that direction. But I'll always have this kind of old country flair. I just seem to gravitate towards that music. And I remember when I released my first album, which was more towards that, I was getting received here and there, but I thought for sure the people there would be like this huge classic country radio station in Canada. And when I was approaching the program director and the music director and tried to explain what I have, and they were telling me they couldn't play my music, and I'm going, why is that? Because it's classically inspired music, it's new music. And they're like, well, all we do is play classic country music. We play music that were hits back, in the 40s to 80s and whatnot. And I'm going, but this is like new music. That's that style. And then they just couldn't comprehend it. So, and that's when I started thinking, oh, well, there's not really a huge market for new classic style country music. So I'm just gonna work my way to find those avenues where I can do what I love doing. And thanks to folks like you, we're able to do that. So thanks. I appreciate that so much.
Oh, absolutely. We have a huge listener base, and we certainly do play all the all the classic legends and everything. But there are so many great artists that are doing music in traditional country style, including yourself, and it's a wonderful platform for them. And I'm finding that my listeners are it's like discovering new music all over again, and it's been a wonderful thing. So I'm glad that you're finding that niche, and the fans are there, no doubt about it.
I would say you just got to find each other.
That's right. Well, your newest album is available at ShaneChisholm.com, and it is called Hitchhiking Buddha. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's like a true story that actually happened to me. And I was driving to a music conference through Alberta and Saskatchewan, and I was, on the number one highway, or Trans-Canada Highway, and so I was driving, and then I was heading east, and then the westbound side, I seen a fella hitchhiking, but he was like dressed in like a bright orange, which I found out later is saffron. I don't know. I'm just like a plain kind of color guy, but I had to be descriptive. And he was bald, and he was like saffron robes he was wearing, and he was hitchhiking. And so I go, well, he must be like a Buddhist monk or something. And which is really, that's even peculiar for, Trans-Canada Highway. So I went on to the conference, and I started talking about this guy. I started becoming obsessed with him, and then as I would tell the story over and over again throughout the weekend, he went to becoming from the Buddhist monk to the Buddha. So like we were joking that it was Buddha hitchhiking. And so 4 days later, I'm driving back home to Calgary, and lo and behold, still in the same spot, still hitchhiking, heading west, was the Hitchhiking Buddha. And you know what I did? I just blew right by him. I stopped. All I could think about was getting home, and then when I got home, I realized how stupid it was not to pick him up. I could have, learned so much. But I just said, well, I'm going to write a song about it. So I wrote a song about it, and I based the whole concept of the album off of it. And it's just, it's just a funny story.
It's a great story. I love it. Great title. Did you write up pretty much all the music on this album? I know you did a version of Kalijah, which is great. It's kind of like a rockabilly version. I love it. You did a great job on it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I've got like a few cover songs that are on there that I just really love these songs, and I just thought I could do something with them. And I really enjoyed how Kalijah turned out. And then I think we did a Poison song, and Every Rose Has Its Thorn, and that was all right. And then there was a Canadian band that where I started writing with one of their principal writers, and I was always a fan of this band, Big Sugar. And one of their writers they write with was doing a lot of writing with me at the time, so I did that as a tribute to them.
Oh, that's cool. Tell me about the song "Living Out Our Name." I really like that one.
Oh, Living Out Our Name was just based off of the death of my father, and to get real personal, I'm just explaining how the song is, but it started out with basically my wife at the time. We were we're always expecting, but it just never happened for us. So like we always told we made it a point now, like if we get pregnant this time, then we're not going to say anything till after the first trimester. So I know we were visiting my family at the time, and it was just kind of hard not to tell them, that my wife was pregnant, and so we didn't. And then a couple weeks later, my father passed away, and then I always felt, I really just wanted to tell him, because we had a son,
Yeah.
And then it got me, as my son, started growing, I started realizing, like I love my daughter so much, but having a son is just, it's a little different because it reminds you of yourself.
Yeah.
And it's almost like your way of immortality, carrying on your name, and you're living through your children. So it got me really thinking about that, and I started writing living out your name, and just doing it through the perspective of the son, how all these things would happen, and they do to you, and then you remember them again when you become a father, and then you're like, you look in the mirror and you're like, oh my God, I'm my dad.
Yeah.
So that's where the song came from.
Great song. It's one of my favorites on the album. I like "What's Love" and I like "I Got Nothing." And again, great country sound on these songs too.
Well, thank you. "What's Love" was written on the East Coast after a 3-month tour, and it was just a bunch of fellas missing their gals back home, and so we're just goofing off in a hotel room, and that's where that song came from. I ran out of budget, but I was talking with Ray, the bass singer from the Jordanaires, and they were going to originally do all the background vocals, but I went over budget, and then I just ended up having to do them all myself and just layering my voice. But that would have been so cool to get.
Oh yeah, Yeah, well, maybe you'll be able to get that on a future project. That'd be really cool. Absolutely.
That would be great.
So what's on tap for the holiday season and touring and all that good stuff?
Well, I'm just working out details, and I'm doing a lot of shows here in Nashville. But come May, I've got a European tour in the works. We're going to start in Denmark, and then I still got people working out the rest of the dates. So, and then I'm planning to work on some more shows around the U.S. and in different states. So I'm looking forward to that, because this is a beautiful country. There's so much to see and so much to be a tourist myself,
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Well, we will certainly keep tabs on that, and we'll put the information on our Facebook page. It's ShaneChisholm.com. His latest album is called Hitchhiking Buddha, and his previous album, No One Came, is also available on the website. And check out some of the great videos of the gas tank base. It's really cool to watch on there. Shane, thank you so much. We're going to play some of your great music from your album, and thanks so much for taking time to be on My Kind of Country.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bob.
All right, that is Shane Chisolm on My Kind of Country. Here is Hitchhiking Buddha as we continue right here on MKOCRadio.com. Shane, thanks again.
Rolled up the rim on a large double-double, pulled out of Brooks in my old Grand Am. Rain on the road started giving me some trouble. Medicine hat, there was a traffic jam. About an hour later when my wheels started turning, road rage sailed and the weather was fair. Saw something funny on the westbound shoulder, was a bright orange Buddhist with his thumb in the air. Nobody's picking up Hitchhiking Buddha. No one cares if he's dead or alive. Nobody's picking up Hitchhiking Buddha, 'cause you can't be enlightened when you're trying to drive. Days later, said bye to Regina, past the yellow house on Pinky Road. Tuned in the country on the Moose Jaw station, stopped at Swift Current for some high mode. My eyes lit up at the Alberta border, 3 more hours if I never stopped. Looked up ahead through the crack of my window.
It was Hitchhiking Buddha standing in the same spot.
Nobody's picking up the Hitchhiking Buddha. No one cares if they're dead or alive. Nobody's picking up the Hitchhiking Buddha, 'cause you can't be enlightened when you're trying to drive. Into my eyes, I felt kinda sorry for him, but to our surprise, it's really hard to stop at 110. I never picked up a Hitchhiking Buddha, now my heart is bleeding inside. But I don't pick up stranger than a stranger, plus you can't be enlightened when you're trying to drive. You can't be enlightened when you're trying to drive. Our crops took ill, and so did my wife Sue. A banker came by, said I needed some dough. Or you and Junior and his mama, you'll have to go. Now hurry it on up, 'cause I's got things to do. I said, well, I got nothing. nothing at all. I got a shoeless horse with a real bad back, who just recovered from a heart attack. I got a worn out center that was made by Black & Decker. Got a fat blind rooster who can barely see his pecker. And I got nothing. Junior, me and Mama feeling down on our luck, with the horse, the dog, and rooster in the back of the truck. We pulled off to the shoulder of the road. A red-haired mountain said your plates are expired. A $50 bribe from you is surely required. If you can't pay, I'll have to get you towed. I said, well, I got nothing, nothing at all. I got a new transmission. Problem that is, I got my lucky jar where I kept my cheese whiz. A dog with no legs and his name is Jim. It don't really matter, he won't come when you call him. And I got nothing. City was a hell of a time. Farm kin, trucking, animals deep in my mind. We're camped out here on Wilshire Avenue. A stranger with a gun stuck it in my bad rib. Said, I want your cash so I can pimp out my crib. Now hurry on up, cause I's got things to do. I said, well, I got nothing, nothing at all. I got my lucky jar, but it's not very clean. It's got 3 uses if you know what I mean. Hey, I got nothing. Plain, light and fluffy, just a little heavy on the inside. There were nights I couldn't stand to close my eyes and drift off to the dark side. I never really got it in. It took me 36 long years to say. There's so many things I'd love to tell Daddy if he was standing here today. Now I know what you were feeling when you lost me in that Kmart store and found me in all 3. When I tried to climb the monkey bars, I fell and scraped my knee. And I made you that cardboard tie that you wore to work that day. When I cut the strings in your guitar and I first ran away. Like a candle to a candle, it's the only way we carry on our flame. Well, sometimes I feel we're all the same descendant, living out on name. Just got our second mortgage. There's only 25 more years to pay. And our youngest boy is 2 years old. Loretta sang to me, one's on the way. When the cold night isolated. I'm dreaming of the man that I can meet. As I look into the mirror, I can see him, and he softly speaks to me. Son, I knew what you were feeling. You were looking deep in an empty glass, wanted to believe. When you left for work and the kids were begging, Daddy, please don't leave. When you sat through hours of the Christmas play just to hear them sing. When they opened up the bedroom door while you were wrestling. Like a candle to a candle, it's the only way we carry on our flame. Well, sometimes I feel we're all the same descendant, living out on a name. Well, I may be light and fluffy, just a little heavy on the inside. Tundra was a drifting soul from Dallas who never had a family of his own. His long-nosed bulldog was his home. Tacoma counted 7 years in prison before they figured he did nothing wrong. Walked out with everything he owned. Like a hitchhiking Buddha, he stood peaceful on the road. Turned his rig, pulled over, said, I'm going to Mexico. Tundra in Tacoma, drove to Tijuana, counting yardsticks, spinning tails to San Diego Bay. They dropped their load that evening, caught a senorita singing, and waited for that reefer load, then hauled the night away. Well, clearing customs never was so easy. Dawn of the day was getting clear. There were 2 dark 4-wheelers in the mirror. Tundra called the boss man on the radio. All the channels on there had been jammed. They were the mules in one big scam. Tacoma said to Tundra, 2 bears were moving in. They were on the take that day, time was wearing thin. Tundra and Tacoma fled through Arizona. Dirty bears, bad guys, were right out their back door. If someone's out there listening, we surely will go missing. So come on out and join us down Highway 44. They shot out all the rubbers, and Tundra hit a rut. Tacoma pinned beside him with a greasy sign up. Tundra and Tacoma knew that it was over. They lay there barely breathing as they opened up the cage. Instead of meeting dealers was a fleet of 18-wheelers that bagged the bad guys, saved their hides all in a working day.